This is a fucking wild episode we're about to do.
Quite literally.
Literally. Oh man, I just stole a joke that I could have used on the on the actual cast, man.
It's okay, we can repeat it.
It will be twice as funny.
Yes, exactly. Jokes get funnier the more you repeat them, don't you know?
And the lengthier the explanation following is.
Too much energon.
What is up, Maximals and Predacons? It is another episode of Too Much Energon, the podcast where myself and my compatriot Christopher Siege talk about the 90s animated cartoon Beast Wars. Christopher Siege, how are you?
Yo.
By the way, I am NeoCal. Christopher, we are back after our end of the year time. Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff. And we are reviewing Call of the Wild. 21st in 21st in production order, but it had an air date of being the 19th. And Call of the Wild came out on January 7th, 1997, which is 24 years today. That means we're a little bit older than that.
Yeah, the episode was originally released 24 years ago today, as of the time of recording. So, listeners, we are recording this on January 7th, 2021. It
would have been funnier if we were just like, today, like, right today. Doesn't matter when you listen to this.
Today is whenever you are listening to this podcast.
Yes.
On this day of day, September 13th, 2027.
Vietnam War 2.
In AD 2101, the war was beginning.
I like how I do the intro and I'm like, by the way, I forgot to introduce myself. So
we've taken a few weeks off, so
yeah. The prestiged NeoCal, his logic circuits were being overridden by his animal. But I'm trying to tie that into Call of the Wild. I got nothing. It's a great episode, you can tell.
Listeners, we haven't recorded an episode of this show for the past 3 weeks because of the holidays. So what Cal is trying to say is that he's been in beast form too long.
I have. I've been in beast form too long.
Which is the plight of our heroes in the episode that we are reviewing today, Call of the Wild.
Yep. A whole bunch of shit is confirmed in this episode, but like a bunch of shit that we like didn't ask for. You know what? No, I'll just. There's no point in summarizing it. We'll break it apart.
So let's get started. We open in a forest.
We
Title
fucking
card.
do.
Call of the Wild. We got a point of view shot here of a cheetah with not glowing, but orange eyes.
Orangish colored eyes, yeah.
Yeah, pouncing through the jungle, sees a deer, charges after it, catches that motherfucker. Does he?
Nope.
No, actually, he doesn't.
Instead, the floor turns to hot lava.
The floor is lava.
And he falls into the lava, and Cheetor wakes up. And his eyes were yellow. But they fade a little bit and turn so that the whites of his eyes are white again, rather than yellow. So, I'm going to unravel this episode. People can take it or leave it, but I'm going to unravel my Cheetor has prophetic dreams conspiracy / theory.
Right. Yeah.
On you. I've mentioned this before. Very early. Yeah, once or twice or 10 times. He is Cheetor has dreamt before about being like caught by what was it? Not Spider's game. Whatever. Like the one where Tarantulas like tries to eat him and catches him in his web.
Oh, the web.
Oh, the web. There you go. And another time when he had like a dreamscape by connecting to Rhinox, he kind of like got a glimpse into either Rhinox's psyche or something that Rhinox would say. That was the episode where Air Razor was introduced.
Right.
And now he has this one where he's like lost him, like he's prowling through the jungle and like he's in his like base animal form, and by losing himself to these animalistic urges, it has brought like wrath upon him, and that was the nightmare. So for the first while, I wasn't sure about these like dreams, but now I'm sure that like young Cheetor, he's got some connection to the Matrix or something like that.
Some kind of precognitive abilities.
Yeah,
One might say.
Haven't been useful, but yeah.
Well, his time will come.
Yeah. So I get he woke up. He's in his like little bunk, and the ship is rumbling.
Yeah.
And it's being attacked by Scorponok and Tarantulas, shooting faster than I've ever seen Scorponok fire missiles before in the entire show.
Yeah, I know. He's moving like he just drank like a 6-pack of Red Bull. Or like his animation's been sped up, Either
or
or.
That, yeah. Also, holy shit, are the Predacons like actually decent in this episode? By decent, I mean like capable. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like, since when have they ever successfully assaulted the Axalon to this degree?
Yeah, I know. They even take out the auto cannons on top of the ship, and the ship is all like Sentinel offline.
Sentinel's gone.
Which, I mean, I thought Sentinel was more than just auto cannons, but
Sentinel, yeah, I thought he was like an AI of the ship that mainly controlled the defenses. So, like, how can Sentinel go offline?
Well,
Does
I
that
could
mean
see
like they're the fire like sprinklers, like everything on the ship is offline?
So yeah, destroying the auto cannons on top of the ship, that suddenly just like wipes out the entire base security system, even on the inside.
Yeah, because they've brought up Sentinel before in that little kitchen table on the center console thing, and he's communicated with them. So like, why is taking out those cannons like take out Sentinel? I'm sure there's reasons.
Because reasons.
Yeah, because reasons. So yeah, we're in the bridge. There's some banter back and forth. It's not really important.
No.
Basically, Rat Trap being like, eh.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, Optimus is giving orders to Rhinox and Rat Trap, and he tells Rat Trap to get the backup cannon online, and Rat Trap's just all like, hey, don't yell at me, you bunch of bananas.
Oh yeah, that was actually a good line.
And then Cheetor comes barging in, and he's all like, hey guys, what can I do? I'm a cat.
Yeah, and they're like, well, you could transform. He's like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sweet. So he transforms, and Rat Trap is basically just like, what a fucking idiot. But I like how Dinobot just like grabs Cheetor by the back and lifts him up.
Is there size difference that big, or is it being exaggerated for this scene? I swear he is not like fucking twice as big as him.
I think he is.
You know how we think they've manipulated like the sizes of the models before?
Yes.
I think either Cheetor's a bit smaller or they've pumped Dinobot up a little bit more by like 20% or something like that, just for that one scene, because like it's like a human picking up like a big cat by the scruff of the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically he's just taking him with him to lead a sortie.
Yep. Yep. So they get on to the elevator platform and go down and emerge onto the battlefield. Whirly tail, drill rapier, tummy gun, and eye lasers blazing.
Mm-hmm.
They charge toward the Predacons, shooting them, and they, despite the fact that they're shooting at Scorponok and Tarantulas, like they don't hit them at all, and instead just like dive right into them, like face first.
Yeah, they're like screaming war cry, and it's actually kind of cool. They just like tackle them.
Yeah, but it's like, really, like you guys were unleashing like a massive arsenal of firepower on them. You couldn't fucking hit them once.
They're standing still. Also, they were Scorponok and Tarantulas were like, why weren't they shooting at? I'm just saying, Dinobot's a big target. They should have shot him. The trick to beating Dinobot is you don't let him come close.
Yeah,
we've talked about this. You don't let him come within ass kicking distance of you.
I wonder if Dinobot can use his whirly tail to like basically, in the sense that like a Jedi uses a lightsaber against blaster fire.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like Mary Poppins uses an umbrella. I'm Mary Poppins, yo.
He just takes off into flight.
That would be rad. I wouldn't mind a flying Dinobot.
Or like the Penguin.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
And he's all like, "Gotta fly, Maximals." Takes off
at a slow pace. See, the Raptorbot Chronicles are sometimes more interesting than the episode.
Sometimes. Listeners, spoilers for the listeners, I did not like this episode. And I will get into the reasons why when they come up. Although I think I'm being a little more nitpicky than I usually am.
I'm usually the nitpicky one.
Yeah.
But this time it's the other way around. A rare episode indeed. Speaking of rare, apparently Megatron sometimes has a gigantic fucking purple missile in his T-Rex head hand.
Okay. When I was watching this earlier, I was like, what the fuck? What happened to his mouth laser?
Upgrades. Yes. Guess yeah, he's like, now while they're distracted or something, he opens his T-Rex head and like launches this huge ass fucking purple missile. And it must have some homing device on it because it kind of moves around before hitting the last of the automated turrets.
It's a plot-seeking missile.
Oh, well, in this case, yeah. Yep. I only have one of those per season. Make it count. Waspinator. Pterosaur. Yeah,
so he blows some panel open, and then Waspinator flies down, and there's like this like electrical coil thing.
Yeah.
That he pulls out, and then Pterosaur shows up and laughs like he always does.
Uh-huh.
And then Optimus just like a hatch opens up and Optimus super apes out of it. And
man, you know that like rock paper scissors I always say? Like what is it? Pterosaur always gets the jump on Optimus. Or tends to. If anybody, I think Pterosaur has the highest hit rate on Optimus. Like, I think he's knocked him out of the sky like 4 or 5 times now. For some reason. And that kind of happens here, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Pterodactyl beats ape.
Yep.
Yeah, so Optimus shotgun blasts Waspinator off of the Axalon, and yes, then Pterosaur shoots Optimus. And even though like Waspinator just took some fire, it apparently didn't do him too much harm because
Right?
him and Pterosaur just fly away,
They
and
just fly away.
Waspinator still has this coil thing.
Right?
So it's like, well, good job, Optimus.
So he shot. Right? So what just happened there? Like they were both just shot, and they were like, "Well, off we go."
They were both just shot, and we're like, big gulps, huh? Well, see you later.
He's like, "Hey, get back here!" And he literally just chases after them just fine. Air Razor pops her head in, and she's like, trouble with the neighbors again, eh? Those kids."
Yep. Megatron's all like, Predacons, let's get out of here. Yes. And we cut to Dinobot just spinning, doing like an around the world spin of tarantulas.
Oh my god, that
And
it's
Tarantulas,
hilarious.
it is. And Tarantulas is like, oh, now he tells me. And then Dinobot just like throws him into a rock, and then Waspinator and Pterosaur like continue to fly away because apparently like they still haven't had time to GTFO.
This is dumb. So
This
you're
is
aware of what
incredible.
crossfire is?
This is incredibly dumb, and I was just about to bring this up.
Okay, go ahead.
So Optimus is like, "You're not leaving the party this early," sounding mighty cocky considering how this battle has transpired thus far.
Right?
So he super apes into the air, charging toward them, firing at them.
Yeah.
And then Air Razor
Is on the other side.
Is on the other side, transforms, and flies toward them, shooting at them. So essentially, what is happening here is Optimus and Air Razor are firing at one another's general directions.
Yeah, crossfire. They're
Yes.
like if they miss, which by the way, they miss every single shot. They risk hitting
Both
each other.
the ones they do and don't take.
Every shot you take, imagine it doesn't hit Waspinator. It hits a MILF. Anyways,
in this case,
yeah.
Air Razor.
But I'm amazed that actually doesn't happen. What instead happens is they just miss a ton. Thought the show was setting us up the bomb, setting us up for them accidentally shooting each other. But no, Megatron's just on the ground, and he's like, another insta-kill missile from me. Yes. And I'm sure we'll see this missile in future episodes a ton.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, all the time. Like, look how good it is. It has homing features. It can take Maximal down in one hit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. We'll see it from here on out. It's going to replace his mostly up to this point useless laser.
It's like Tarantulas and his transmuter device.
Completely game changing.
Yeah. Like forces Transformers to like stay in beast mode. Like that's a game changer right there. You're gonna use it in every episode going forward, right?
Just like
this missile.
Just like this missile. We'll never see his T-Rex head laser again.
No. Yeah. So anyway,
so it hits Optimus.
Yeah, it takes him out. He goes flying down, and Air Razor charges toward him, but then she gets shot too
by Pterosaur.
Yeah,
she forgot that they were there. So she's diving down to save him, and they're both shot. But she's not. This is weird to me. So, okay, so she's shot and he's shot. He lost one of his prime jets, so he's falling. But she saves him from hitting the ground, right?
Yeah. She grabs his foot.
Yeah, and she's like, "Need a lift, big guy?" And he mentions that she's hit, and she's like, "Oh yeah, well, what you gonna do?" This is the strange part. I'm gonna not jump ahead, just mention the coming scene. She's apparently so injured that she needs to go in the what are they called? The Healy tanks?
The CR chamber. Yeah.
She needs to go in the CR chamber for, what is it, days? A couple days?
Yeah.
And I'm like, since when? Since when has it taken anyone that long to heal? Doesn't matter. Maybe the Predacons have better healing tanks.
It took Optimus a while to get healed. This is going way back.
That's
going back
right.
to, what episode was it? Fallen Comrades.
Yeah, that's fair. That
And
took a while.
It took Dinobot a while to heal during Possession as well. So I think their CR chamber just isn't as good as the Predacon's hot tub.
That
heal
makes
machine.
a lot of sense, because the hot tub Healy machine, it's brought them back and like put them back into the same episode in like no time.
Yeah, from far worse injuries too.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess like being a Predacon's kind of a high risk job. Like not only from your foes, but
it is a warship too, so they probably bought the expensive hot tub heal machines.
Yeah, we sprung for the deluxe model. Cheers.
Spare no expense, because I will be smashing my minions apart. I really love Scorponok's scream when they retreat. It's just... it's like maximum Scorponok.
That's saying something.
Yeah. Like just screaming for his life. I also thought they kicked Tarantulas' and Scorponok's butt, but like they were still able to run away. So how are they able to run away when like Tarantulas just got like thrown out of the Royal Rumble? But Optimus and Air Razor are like down for the count? Something, they're explorers, not soldiers.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
they signed on to this mission as explorers, damn it. Right? They're not prepared for this.
No. So yeah, it'll be days before repairs on Air Razor are completed.
Yep. And so our heroes on the bridge of the Axalon start shorting out.
And they're surprised.
Yep. Rat Trap's all like, "Hey, what the cheese? We're inside the base."
It's only taken like 20 fucking episodes for him to say something like that, huh? So this answers our question that we had raised like 15 like episodes ago. Like, they can just we presumed, they never told us, but we presumed that while they're inside the base, they're Energon dampeners.
Yeah.
So they don't need to go back and forth between beast mode. And this confirms it.
Yeah. Well, and we knew that stasis pods had Energon shielding.
Yes, which like have a 90% chance of breaking upon re-entry.
Yeah. Depending on if the story calls for
it. Yeah. Sometimes they land gingerly, and then the transformer that comes out is still fucked up. So there's no rules for these things.
Yeah. Wild card, bitches.
Well, we got through that. Like I think our headcanon for that was that Inferno was just always nuts. Remember, he's like the janitor, and he was just like just always a little bit crazy.
Right. Yeah. God, it's been a month since we talked about that episode. Yeah. Listeners, we took a few weeks there and re-recorded some early episodes, so we're actually jumping back into this show after like a month. So things are slowly coming back,
And we did an additional project. We did.
Yes, we did.
Well, we'll mention that later, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rhinox, they're all short circuiting, and Rhinox is like, "That's what I was trying to tell everyone." The Predacons stole the
rectifier coil.
Rectifier coil.
Rectifier coil. I don't know why I was
Rectifier.
Rectifi.
Rectifier. Rectifier. It's my favorite type of pasta. Rectifier Coil. It's an Italian shrimp dish. Yeah, so without it, the base is no longer Energon shielded.
Yep. So they got to stay in beast form all the time now, and Optimus, very ominously, is like, that could be a problem, and his eyes
Now,
kind of bug out.
this doesn't make any sense to me because, you know what? Let's just go. Let's go forward.
Nope, doesn't make sense to me either.
They
And
could take shifts. Do you know what I mean? Like one of them can transform and sleep for a bit, or like while the others, like man, like they could transform in shifts. But because this is written by a genius, never mind. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this could be a problem. This is bad.
Because this is very
bad.
So we're back at the Predacon base, and Megatron is in his chair. He's just like all gloating. Something really weird is happening with his T-Rex head behind his chair. It's like kind of, yeah. It just looks kind of weird.
Yeah, you're right. He kind of explains to the viewer because it doesn't make any fucking sense. So let's have somebody explain it. His fucking laugh there. He has a good few hearty laughs in this episode.
Yeah, I like how he's like laughing because like he's sitting in his floaty chair, and all the other Predacons are on terror boards beside him, and he's like laughing, and Scorponok is holding the rectifier coil.
Yeah, Megatron tosses him it, and he almost like cartoonishly drops it.
Yeah,
as he juggles for it. Yeah, but
the
TLDR. Sorry, go ahead.
Megatron, as he's like giving his speech, like explaining to the viewer that the Maximals have to stay in beast form all the time now, and that'll drive them crazy eventually. He keeps like gesturing erratically, and like every time he does, it spooks Scorponok. And then finally, at the end of his
what that is.
And then at the end of his little speech, he like slams his hand down, and Scorponok falls with the rectifier coil, and Megatron starts.
He almost does, or does he?
No, he does fall eventually. He almost falls a few times and then falls eventually.
Oh, I see now. Can't believe I missed that.
And his laugh. Megatron
is crazy.
Lets out this big like belly laugh as he looks into the sky, and the Predacons on terror boards are just like standing there, not reacting. So he stops laughing and then looks over at them suddenly, and then they all start laughing too. Except Black Arachnia
just stands there with a hand on her hip.
Yeah, it's an old like cartoonish joke, but I chuckled.
Yeah, like looking at your subordinates so that they laugh too.
Yeah.
I haven't heard like that is some Tim Curry levels of laughing that Megatron's going there. I haven't heard him so joyously laugh.
He's very proud of himself right now.
Yeah. So before we continue, they retreated because they were kind of losing, but they're getting their butt kicked to some extent, but like they kind of weren't. They were kind of winning. Optimus was down. Razor was down. Yeah, Pterosaur was getting his butt kicked by Cheetor, and Tarantulas was getting eliminated out of the Royal Rumble by Dinobot. But like there are a lot of confusing choices made by the Predacons when I feel like they had won many times over.
Right.
But we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm. So
suspenseful music plays.
Yeah, so we're back at the Axalon. Scorponok is outside the base again.
It's implying it's the next day because when it showed the dark side, it was nighttime, and now it's kind of the morning. So
yeah,
or maybe 2 days later or something like that.
Well, Rhinox mentions that they haven't later in a little bit that they haven't slept for 2 days,
Oh,
so
you're
it's
right.
been a couple days now. So yeah, Scorponok transforms and he starts shooting at the base, and all the Maximals are on the bridge of the Axalon in beast form.
Oh, you're right. Rhinox says, "Oh, I should have known that they'd attack. It's been 2 days." Yeah. And he's like Optimus, and Optimus is just like gorilla sleeping.
Yep, he's having
And
dreams about.
I don't know if it's ever shown them sleeping much, but it's good to know that they snore. And we dreamscape time. We go into
So
Optimus's dream.
I guess they breathe then.
Except we just watched the Transformers movie, and they don't.
Yep.
Maybe only when they're in their beast mode.
Maybe, yeah. They do have it. Presumably, they have organic compounds in their body, so they might need oxygen to sustain those.
Or if you're a clone, you're completely organic and you can be eaten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how things work on Planet
Beast
Energon.
Planet. Oh, I like yours better.
That's actually from the Beast Wars video game.
Really?
In the instruction manual, it apparently refers to it as Planet Energon.
Rad.
Because when that game came out, at the time they didn't know that this was Earth. Spoilers.
Oh, I'm sure they didn't. Because, the moon looking exactly like, well, one of the moons.
No, I
mean
the people who made the game.
How could they not?
Dude,
could they not?
Dude, the story of that game involves like the Maximals and Predacons, each member having their own territory and their own army of drones that like war with each other. The people who made this game know nothing about the show.
Okay. Carry on. So we're in Optimus's dream.
We should try and do like at some point a brief like let's play video of the Beast Wars game.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not?
Sometime.
Okay, so we're in Optimus's dreamscape. And he's high in a jungle canopy and he's looking around. We've got like a point of view shot from Optimus. And he's swinging on vines. I feel like
swinging around like Tarzan.
I feel like the writers thought that gorillas were chimps or smaller monkeys instead of apes, because the vine swinging thing, like you said, like Tarzan, when you weigh 800 pounds, I don't think works. But it's a dream, right? It's what he might think a gorilla might do.
Dare to dream, Optimus. Dare to dream.
And he's awoken from his slumber, and his yellow eyes fade back to white.
Yeah.
And he kind of looks around like a gorilla. I kind of like this episode because he like kind of looks around like all nervous, like an actual like silverback. Enemy.
Yeah, and Rat Trap, it's because he's just this tiny little rat's having trouble operating the console and reaching shit, and he's all like, "Man, this sucks. I wish I could transform." And Optimus is like, "No, if the Preds attack, you'll have less fight time."
Okay, so let's exactly.
I guess that kind of explains why they don't do it in shifts, but still.
So, like you said, Rhinox just said, not only has it been a couple days, but none of them have slept this whole time.
Yeah.
But like that's you can't function like that.
Yeah.
Like sleep in shifts, bro. Like 2 of you sleep, the rest of you stay awake. 2 of you sleep. Yeah. Like trade off.
Well, yeah, and like what the fuck, like why don't they just try and go and get their shit back?
They just sat there. Yeah.
They've never hesitated like going to like charging
their
the
shit back.
Predacon base when they've needed to in the past. This seems like a pretty important thing. You'd think that like they immediately would just come up with a plan and be like, okay, let's go. We'll make camp along the way if we have to rest up in beast form.
That's a good point. They've always went and like knocked on the Predacon's door and gotten their shit back, or saved Rhinox, or saved Optimus, or whoever, whatever was going on.
Yeah, so
But
like
now
what
they're just like, oh, time to hang out in the base, and
yeah, they're just sitting around doing nothing. Like, what did they think was going to happen?
that's weird. Anyways, yeah, moving on.
So yeah, Rat Trap and Optimus like all get into it because Rat Trap basically calls Optimus a chicken shit, and they like go full bestial and wreck some shit. Optimus wrecks some shit, and then Optimus or Rhinox stomps around and is like, "Man, we've been in beast mode too long. Can't even drink a beer like this."
Which is so weird to me because yeah, he's like stomping. He's like, stop it, because Optimus is gonna like gorilla smash Red Trap, like you said.
Yeah.
And Rhinox causes more damage than the other two did by yelling at them to stop it.
Because he
breaks
like
the dinner
flipped over
table.
he flips over the dinner table. Rhinox is flipping tables, okay?
He's flipping tables. He's done with this shit. Now this is the weird part. He's like, oh, what the fuck does he say? Optimus is like, what's happening to us? And Rhinox is like, we've been in beast mode too long.
Yeah,
right?
and Optimus is like, what about Tigatron? He must have dealt with this. And it's like, you're just thinking, it's been 2 days, dude, and you're just thinking about this now?
Not only that, it has shown that a lot of the Maximals have actually kind of embraced their animal side.
Yeah.
Rhinox in particular. It'll often show him doing things or just staying in beast mode, smelling the flowers. We've seen him use a console before in beast mode. Like straight up, he's just sat at his computer before. He put in a floppy disk with his mouth. So I don't know why this is a surprise to all of them now. Like Cheetor. We see Cheetor all the fucking time just chilling in his beast form, scouting. So are we to believe they haven't gone 2 whole days without transforming before now?
There's no precedence for what is happening in this episode for the problem that's been introduced, and I don't like it.
Yeah, even Rat Trap is like, the rat is taking over. And I'm like, dude, you love being a rat.
Yeah, but also like, why? I don't understand why this is happening. Like, if Optimus
biggest...
like if like G1 Megatron goes too long in his like alt form, is he just going to eventually think he's a gun and just yell bang bang all the time instead of talking?
Bang! Like, I believe it's time to shoot. Yes. That's a good... Yeah, does Optimus start like doing deliveries across the United States?
Right? He just thinks he's a Peterbilt truck now.
Does he start going cross country and just going honk honk?
As The Touch by Stan Bush plays on his radio on repeat.
You got the touch. Honk. Does he pick up an arm wrestler and his son and bring them to like the world championships for like arm wrestling? We don't know.
Well, we'll never know.
It's a little over the top reference. I'm sorry. I have to. There's so few references. Times I could slip that Sylvester Stallone movie in there.
Actually, didn't get it.
Have you ever seen it?
Which one is it?
Over the Top. It's the one where
Stallone, no,
he's
a
truck driver. And he wants to like win their own truck and take your own contracts, right? You can make a lot of money. I have an uncle that does that. And his estranged son, he lost custody of him. and he kind of kidnaps him. And by kidnap, I mean he doesn't have time scheduled with him, but like his kid is all like, "Dad, I want to live with you now," and so kind of takes him across the country as they evade his evil like father-in-law, rich guy. Who, and he teaches his kid like how to be a man, how to arm wrestle, how to drink a beer. It's been quite a while since I've seen it, and I think at the very end, not only does he like win the tournament, but I think he drives his like fucking truck like through a mansion. Like Jackie Chan like movie from the 90s, like straight through like the front yard, like taking out like statues and hedges and smashes right through the front of the building. And then it ends somehow with the old guy, like the old rich guy, like getting arrested and like him like getting custody of his son back. There, I just saved the viewers an hour and a half of needing to watch Over the Top.
And then after that, Optimus Prime honks away and rolls out, and then drives into an alleyway in Chinatown.
Holy shit! What if that is true? What if it is Optimus?
Where like three ancient Chinese wizards are doing battle against Kurt Russell.
What a bizarre fucking movie, man. That movie explains so little.
That movie is amazing. That movie is dumb, but it is amazing. I love Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes, we're talking about Big Trouble in Little China for
for
anyone
the
confused. Part of that was filmed in Victoria, BC, Canada, where we reside.
Yes, I didn't know that, actually.
That's one of those things I like to throw in conversation as often as possible.
Oh, I knew it was filmed here. I didn't know we lived here.
Oh, okay. What year is it, man? Well, I guess
1997, apparently.
I guess technically there's like 11 different municipalities to Greater Victoria. Like technically I don't live in Victoria. I live in Saanich.
Right.
Anyways,
I do live in Victoria. So there.
What other? Yeah, technically you are in Victoria. What other movies has a giant Mack truck that could be Optimus?
T2.
I'm sure though. Oh shit!
So after he leaves, the alleyway in Chinatown, he goes to the Galleria in Los Angeles,
where a Terminator steals him.
Yeah.
And throws McCready out of the whoa, wait, wrong movie.
Jack Burton.
Yeah, there we go. What's McCready? Oh, that's the thing.
The thing, yeah.
That's probably the same character.
Right?
We should have our own special preamble where we just like make up, like connect as many dots as possible and make our own cinematic universe.
I actually want to. Yes, I want to explore this further in the future.
What would we call that? The G1 cinematic universe, or the 7 steps of connecting Transformers. The
6 degrees of transformation.
There you go. I was trying to think of something. There you go. The 6 degrees of transformation. That's how we connect Optimus to the Raptorbot Chronicles to Big Trouble in Little China.
To Over the Top, to Terminator 2.
The Thing.
Fuck it. After he gets blown up in Terminator 2, he gets rebuilt and then he becomes the bus in Speed.
Fuck it. He gets rebuilt into the bus. Wow.
Anyway.
That's what happens when you stay in your disguise mode too long, ladies and gentlemen. You go insane, like Christopher and I.
Speaking of going insane.
And like the Maximals are.
Yeah, because they're
like, we haven't slept in 2 days, and I'm like, pathetic. You've had sleep problems before. 2 days is nothing.
Oh yeah.
Sure, you start seeing the shadow monsters here and there, but you're fine.
I see those anyway.
Yeah.
Ghostly
That has nothing to
spiders
do with
running
not
across
sleeping.
the floor, you know.
And those aren't even hallucinations. He just sees ghosts and spiders.
Yep.
Where the heck were we? Oh, we need to talk to Tigatron.
Yeah, and Rhinox is all like, I already thought of that, boss. Just hope he gets it in time. Hope he gets
No,
the message in
we
time.
sent him laser mail.
Laser mail.
And because remember, he's got that giant dish out in the tundra biome.
Right, the Swiss Alps biome.
Yeah. And if there was a name for some sort of like wintry like biome with tundra. Oh, I can't think of it right now. But anyways, the Predacon energy signature left, so it was just Scorponok like fucking with them and
Yeah.
testing their shields and keeping them awake.
And they're like, hallelujah, we can go to sleep now. Because apparently it was the Predacons fucking with them that was keeping them awake. I don't know.
And then Rat Trap says something that confuses the fuck out of me. He says, "Put defenses on auto," but well, I thought they were all destroyed, which is why you're staying awake.
Yeah.
Right? No? Just me?
Yeah.
Like, aren't they awake because Sentinel's offline?
Presumably.
But now they can put the defenses on auto?
Yep.
And they can get some sleep?
Which begs the question, why didn't they do that before?
And then when he's like, time to get some rest, Optimus is like, you get no argument from me. What? Why is it okay to sleep now, but they've been awake for 2 days?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it was just Scorponok out there, and they knew that, and he was just fucking with them. So, like, why were they so worried? And was
for
like
2 days.
Was Scorponok out there for like 2
For
days?
2 days? Did it take 2 days to repair Sentinel? I don't. Man,
None of
doing
these
this as
questions
adults and
and
we
more.
just like tear apart the episodes and talk about how fucking shitty they are, and we somehow still have at least a few listeners.
Seeing the data, we get pretty. We get consistent downloads. We get downloads every day.
Part of me used to be like, okay, let's like concentrate on like the good and the bad sometimes. But sometimes I just fucking like gut the episode and just take it apart. And I'm like, is this what people want? Because we're not talking about like how great the episode is so far.
Well, yeah, I have no intention of talking about how great this episode is because I don't think it's great.
You know, rewatching this as we're doing the episode right now, I'm liking it less than when I had just watched it earlier today. Because I was like, what? Christopher, pfft, he's being critical. And I'm like watching it now and I'm like, this is fucking dumb. I just like the animals.
And it gets fucking dumber as the episode goes on, too.
So we get a shot of Optimus's chambers and he's having like a nightmare in his beast mode. And we get another dreamscape of him vine swinging, having a grand old time.
Yep, and then he wakes up and now his eyes are orange, and then we cut to Dinobot, who is actually looking kind of cute, all coiled up, asleep.
Oh, yeah, kind of like a cat.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. He's
dreamscaping too. Woo! Except this time he's chasing a. What are those? Dilophodon? What? What are those dinosaurs called?
Yeah. He is chasing prey that he grabs with his teeth and starts flailing around. And then he wakes up too, and his eyes are orange.
Parasaurolophus, something like that. Some sort of hadrosaurid. I don't know. I'm just repeating what I learned from Jurassic Park.
Those are words,
Those are words.
I
A
think.
Parasaurolophus or Hadrosaurid or
Snuffleupagus.
Compy Snuffleupagus. A Cheranostic Hadrosaur. If I make up enough words, will it sound like I know what I'm talking about?
A large hadron collidersaurus.
Holy shit. There's only one of those alive.
It belongs in a museum.
Uh,
Underground.
so the TLDR of these dreamscapes is that everyone on the Axalon seems to be waking up, but their eyes are colored. The irises are colored.
So
Instead of
presumably
white.
they're sleepwalking, essentially.
Is that what you got from it?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was not aware of that until Megatron points it out later. I thought the beast had taken a hold of them or some bullshit. But yeah, it's the color in the whites of their eyes changing to like reddish or yellowish is implying their
Smoking the
dream.
weed.
They're on the ganj. And the ganj makes you see shit, man.
Yeah, so Rat Trap's also having another dream and yada yada yada.
I
He
wanted to
wakes
know
up.
what his dream was, but it didn't show us.
Yeah. Probably about cheese and sewers and garbage and mutant turtles. So he wakes up too. His eyes are red now because they're usually black.
Oh, yeah.
So his are red.
And immediately, as they wake up, they're all kind of like acting like animals. So Optimus is kind of like sniffing the air and walking around like a gorilla, being cautious. Rat Trap is skulking around, and Dinobot takes a bite tries to bite him.
Yeah, Dinobot tries to eat
Snaps at him. Yep. But he's quick and he scampers away, and we get a scene with Rat Trap scampering and Dinobot chasing.
And then Optimus comes down the elevator platform, holding on to one of the bars, latched onto it like a gorilla.
We get some nice gorilla ass shots.
Yep. He got some junk in the trunk.
And it's nighttime.
Yeah.
Which adds to the scariness of the episode. I don't know.
So he fucks off, and then Rat Trap and Dinobot come charging out as well, and Rat Trap runs away, and Dinobot goes after him, and
basically all of the Maximals fuck off into the forest while they're like sleepwalking. That's the word I'm looking for.
Sleep prowling.
Either oh god, is that what he says?
Yeah, that's what he says. Sleep prowling. Yeah. So Mega Breath is there.
What he says, I like. Do you know the line that he says?
No.
He's like, exactly as my research on maximal programming postulated.
Oh, right, the postulated thing, right.
I like that.
That made me chuckle because I used the word "thou doth postulated."
Yeah,
in the Shakespeare episode.
Yeah, thou doth postulate. But yeah, as he postulated, the beast forms have completely taken over.
Well, he says it's based on his research on maximal programming.
Yeah, what the fuck does that mean?
Presumably this doesn't happen to Predacons?
No? Except that the Preds all act like they're creepy animal modes anyway.
True, yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah,
he says in their exhaustion, they're sleep prowling.
So tonight we hunt. And then he starts
this is
laughing.
Fucking hilarious.
And he's sitting on a throne that's being like held up by what are the name? Like, what's the name of this setup? Like, I know there's a name for it.
Oh, like the ones, the pedicabs being pulled by people, or do you mean like the ones that pharaohs go
Yeah,
around in?
like the ones that pharaohs go around in.
Yeah, what are those called? But basically, while I end up trying to Google it, basically he's got like a little seat. His feet are like supported, and on one end, it looks like it's made out of bamboo and bone. Like it's very primal looking. And
Yeah,
on one end, on the front, Scorponok's holding it up, and on the back, Tarantulas is.
yeah,
And he's holding like the Transformer version of like an elephant gun. Like he's on a fucking safari.
yeah.
Like a
And that
sniper rifle or something.
and Black Arachnia is pounding tribal drum. Like, what the fuck
Wait,
is
what?
this? Yeah,
Oh, wow. How did I miss that? Yeah, it's got like tiger hide stretched over it.
yeah. And
What the fuck?
this shot right here, the camera is stationary, and the Predacons like are carrying Megatron on his seat through the jungle, and like the flyers like slowly fly by. And then we get a shot of a red and green transformer who flies into frame, in and out of frame.
Uh-huh.
Last episode, we learned this was Inferno, because the last episode in production order was the episode that introduced him, Spider's Game.
Yeah. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if it seems like Christopher has some OCD about production order versus um release order,
I'm
it's
going to
because of
explain
things
why.
like this.
So for the listeners, you may recall that I have mentioned in the past that like I was watching like back in '96. I was watching the show as it originally aired on its original air dates because I was that into it, and I was even like taping each episode every week on VHS. So like I was pretty keenly aware of like when the show was on. So this episode actually aired the week before the last one in Canada on YTV.
Which means if you're just watching it at home, this is the first time you see Inferno.
Yep. And so my
3-second shot of him just flying slowly across the screen.
Yep. So me at like 11 or 12 years old, I see this and I'm like, wait, who is that?
Who the fuck is that?
I was so confused about it. Like, and then like the following week is when Spider's Game aired on YTV, Canadian television channel. That was the home and co-production network of Beast Wars in Canada. But yeah, so this aired before the last episode, the previous episode that introduced Inferno on YTV in Canada, and I was confused as all hell about it back in the mid 90s.
Yeah, so this came before the episode he was introduced, or 2 episodes before?
Just before.
Just before.
Because I've mentioned in the past that YTV's broadcast order, like, I don't even have any record of it. Like, I'm just going by memory at this point.
Right. It's out of order on Tubi, too.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, YTV's broadcast order was even different than the US's broadcast order, and it also was in production order.
Wow.
Yeah. So the show is all over the place.
But he doesn't talk, and nobody says his name in this episode.
Yep.
So, and he doesn't terrorize. So we don't even get to know what his name is.
Yep. He just flies past the camera.
And you're like, hold up. Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, basically. And like,
I think he like shoots a few times later in the episode before getting shot down.
Yeah, like listeners too. Like this was before like the internet was around, but this was generally before most people had the internet in their house. Like the internet wasn't as widespread as it was even like a couple of years later.
And some people had it in the 90s, but that's usually if they had like a younger parent or an older sibling, or or they were like kind of like a teenager. Hey, blah blah blah, let's get a computer, right? But the standard person in like 96 didn't, like, most, at least that I know, didn't even have a computer, let alone like
We
internet. And even when I didn't until 99.
Yeah, I think that's about when I got one too.
I didn't even know how to use the internet. Do you know what I mean? Like navigating the internet was going to websites people told me rather than going to search engines. And
well, hey, Google wasn't even around back then. It was all MSN search and Yahoo search.
Oh, it's all flooding back to me.
The dark days.
The darkest days.
The darkest timeline.
Well, which we've proven that we are on. Wonder what the brightest timeline looks like. It's hard to even fathom right now. Anyways.
No one has mustaches. Let me tell you.
Holy shit. No one.
Wait.
If that's a completely different timeline, does that mean like Stalin and Hitler didn't even have a mustache?
Yes, and they were true humanitarians in this hypothetical universe.
My mind is getting blown. And we've already colonized Mars.
It was them who did it.
Yeah, it was through the joint alliance of Stalin and Hitler.
And they both did it personally.
The space race, the space cooperation of the 40s. Yes, I almost forgot about that.
Yeah.
Fuck, what is happening?
They both simultaneously, arm in arm, skipped off of the Mars rover, set foot on the red planet together.
And said, fuck, it's cold here. Or maybe people can breathe in the brightest timeline on Mars. I don't know. I'll never know. I'm not a trans-dimensional dimension hopper like Jet Li.
You're not part of the Sliders team, okay?
Oh, I fucking loved that show. Used to watch that with my grandma like all the fucking time. That was my jam.
Yeah, I caught it every now and then. I was more of a Stargate person.
Yeah, I watched SG-1, Sliders, X-Files, Paranormal Files. I think that was hosted by Dan Aykroyd. No, yeah, Paranormal Files. He'd like do the opening and outro for the show. Like nobody's seen that.
No, I don't remember that one. I do remember Unsolved Mysteries though.
That was hosted by Riker?
Robert Stack, whom did the voice of Ultra Magnus in Transformers the movie.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Huh.
Which we watched recently.
World. Yes, we did.
We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah. So, to jump back into this exciting... I'm surprised Megatron didn't have a voice like this. Yes. Like, Silverback. My father before me hunted him, and I must go too. Fuck. So Megatron's on a fucking safari for anybody just tuning in halfway through the podcast.
You know what would have saved this episode for me, I think, is
if he had a safari hat. Is that actually what
you knew exactly where I was going with that.
This is why he asked me to do this show with him. That's actually what you were going to say.
That's actually what I was going to say, yes.
I would have... It would go a whole ranking up by 1 if he had a safari hat. Maybe like a fucking monocle or something. I don't know.
Oh, that would be even better. I should make the show art him and just Photoshop those on.
Oh, sitting on that fucking like petty throne thing.
Yeah.
with like a fucking safari hat.
Yep.
What was that show with the family on safari? The main character has a Nigel Thornberry, the Great Thornberries, or the
Uh,
what was it? The Wild Thornberries. There we go.
yeah, I was like, this sounds really familiar.
Yeah, it's kind of like the family is like out, like the whole show takes place in like them basically on safari, and he's got that big ass nose and the sloth eyeballs and the big bushy like orange mustache. If he had if he had like a Nigel Thornberry like approach to this, I'd be all over it. He's looking through a scope. And I'm like, dude, don't your eyes zoom in? You guys are Transformers. What are you doing looking through the scope of a fucking sniper rifle?
Maybe he doesn't have the Magno Eye perk. Because we haven't seen him use that, I don't think.
Right. During character creation, when you're a Transformer, you get to take some negatives and some positive, and you buy traits. And he probably didn't have enough for eye lasers or Magno eyes. But being like gigantic and being able to take most other Transformers was where he went.
He also got a mouth laser too, and apparently mouth missiles.
True.
So
yeah,
maybe he leveled up between last episode and this episode, and that was the perk that he took was mouth missile.
Yeah, he leveled up, and he's aiming through this stupid fucking scope, but he's holding a double-barreled gun that looks like a shotgun, or maybe a double-barreled rifle, if those exist. But when he shoots, right, it fires a missile, a single missile. So I'm like, where did that come out of?
Right.
Optimus's fucking face when he sees it.
Yeah, so he shoots at Optimus. Optimus like gasps and dives away, and tree gets blown up, and Megatron's like, God damn it. Well, if you don't succeed. Try again. Yes. Something he actually says.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he sends the flyers off to go take care of the other Maximals, but he's like, Optimus is mine.
There are 3 flyers now. It's so weird. We've been so used to just Waspinator and Pterosaur. It's weird to see Inferno in the background.
Yeah, imagine how I felt when I was 11.
And like he doesn't talk. Nobody looks at him. Right? Like it's like, did I just imagine that there was like a weird flying red guy beside Pterosaur?
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, he's there.
Yeah, he was there.
So Megatron orders them to take everyone out except Optimus. He's mine. But he says that after the flyers leave.
Oh, maybe he had the
maybe they
link
know.
Open.
Yeah, maybe they went over the game. They clearly have some sort of stupid like game plan going into this, especially if like one of them, like Black Arachne, has a fucking drum. Can't believe I didn't notice that the first time.
So we're back at the Axalon, and
Tigatron's here.
Tigatron's watching like CCTV video of the forest getting blown up. Yeah, of the forest getting blown up, and Optimus.
How's he watching that?
I have no idea.
Is there a security camera set up in the middle of the fucking jungle?
Apparently.
Also, have you noticed how it's kind of weird that just for this episode only, there's a jungle right beside the fucking Maximal base?
Yep.
People listening, we like this show.
It was a desert before.
But they were like on a mountain, like canyon.
Yeah.
Like there was no vegetation or anything around them. And now they live beside a jungle? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, people listening, this is my favorite cartoon of all time. I assure you.
Yes. No, it's actually your favorite?
Yeah.
It's fucking good. I'll give it that. I'm watching a lot of older like cartoons lately, and I'm like, you know what? Nah, this holds up pretty fucking good. I'm not going to compare it to anything else we may be simultaneously reviewing, but this is in the lead for me.
That other show that we're doing might be a little bit more of a mixed bag. Even going into season 2.
Oh boy. I don't even remember what episodes are coming.
Yeah, so Tigatron's watching the surveillance footage of the forest.
Which they have a camera in for some reason.
Yeah. The CR chamber opens, Air Razor comes out and is all like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And then Tigatron is like, it's called a hunt. As if as if this is a thing?
Right? It's
like,
called
okay.
a hunt. Oh, okay. Well,
I know Megatron said tonight we hunt, but like Tigatron's acting like this is an established thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the
Anyway,
night is wild and we have much to do.
yeah.
So
at least they are people
okay.
of action. Because instead of just like sitting around at the base for 2 days, going mad from fatigue, they're like, well, time to go to work. Let's figure shit out.
Right.
So Pterosaur and Waspinator are shooting at the Maximals, and Waspinator is like, oh, Waspinator love it when prey cannot shoot back.
Right?
And Pterosaur is like, hunting from the air with automatic weapons. Now that's a sport.
Now but he doesn't have an automatic weapon. Whatever. The writers are great.
That line did make me laugh. It was one of the only things I like about this episode.
There's a few funny lines. I'll give it that. But again, he has like a semi-automatic like plasma weapon. It's not automatic. Tarantulas' like machine gun legs are automatic. Later, Rat Trap uses the automatic function of his gun. But Pterosaur's weapon has never been automatic. Anyway, sorry.
Maybe it's like certain pistols in Resident Evil games where you can switch a setting where it's like semi-auto or full auto.
Well, see, that's what I thought. Right?
Yeah.
Like semi-auto is usually like some sort of like burst fire. Like I know that a lot of like rifles that exist in real life outside of the Transformers verse have automatic fire. So if it's semi-auto, it's usually like burst fire, right? You could change it to single. You could change it to auto. But like other than Rat Trap, I don't think I've seen anyone's gun switch back and forth. Especially not Pterosaur. But anyway, that is a weird small thing to get to complain about in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, we were just like, there's just such a shortage of other things in this episode to actually complain about.
It's almost so perfect. I gotta complain about the small things.
Yeah, you gotta take those gripes where you can.
Yeah, because it's perfect
in a gem of an episode like this,
with only more gems to follow.
So smack you in the side of the face.
Are they trying to shoot at them or just scare them and play with their food?
I think they're just fucking with them
at the moment. Yeah.
Which I mean, at this point, why wouldn't you? I guess if you're them.
Yes. So Rat Trap and Dinobot were together, being chased by Pterosaur and Waspinator.
Yeah.
Cheetor and Rhinox are together, being chased by, I don't know, this mysterious flying guy from Inferno.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, they're sleepwalking. Why isn't any of this waking them up? right?
Because that would put it into the hunt that we
Okay.
need to continue.
Because that's a thing, apparently.
They're maybe they're in such a deep state of sleep, and their beast forms have taken such a hold that their like consciousness has been buried.
There's something called the Beast in a certain game that I am a storyteller for that may involve vampires and masquerades. And when the Beast like takes over, it's when a character frenzies and they like lose their mind and like they become animalistic, and the storyteller like controls their actions and they're at their base instincts. This is kind of like what that is. They're for some reason untold to us and unexplained later in the episode. Uh, they're stuck as animals.
Right.
So I guess when you don't sleep and you don't transform it into a robot, you when you go to sleep, you just stay an animal.
Yep. That's
what it's implying.
Yep.
All of these and questions and more to be answered.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, sure. So one fast cat meets a frost cat.
Right, yeah. So Cheetor runs into Tigatron, and they like stare each other down, and then Rhinox shows up and growls, and then Tigatron growls, and then Tigatron just like turns around and walks away, and then Cheetor and Rhinox just calm down and start following him.
Yeah, they kind of look at each other and then look at him, and Tigatron looks over his shoulder, and I like how animalish they all are. The episode just goes about it kind of weird. And they're kind of like, well, we were running from the same enemy, and this guy seems trustworthy, and he seems to know what he's doing. Let's follow him. Or maybe part of the Maximal brain is still there, and they go, oh, Tigatron, and they recognize him, and they know he's a friend. Maybe.
Assume some of their Maximal brain is still there, because like otherwise, yes, I am a rhinoceros. I will follow this trustworthy Siberian tiger that doesn't even live on the same continent as I do.
Continents are very small on Energon planet, right? See, right now we're on a lava continent.
Right. Yeah, Air Razor is circling the Predacon base.
I actually really fucking dig this. The Halo drop.
Oh yeah.
This is some cool shit. Yeah, presumably she knows that they have defenses, and she's like, wow, nobody's home. And she like tucks her wings in, and like, what does she say? She stoops to conquer. Yeah, and she dives in, and like Mission Impossible mode, like starts like picking up crazy hawk speed. The camera's shaking and the wind is loud. Man, what?
Yeah, it's like the coolest bit in this entire episode.
Yeah, probably one of the coolest Air Razor moments. There are future ones to come.
Yeah, auto cannons come on. She transforms, is dodging them like it ain't no thing, and then zips past them, and they blow up from the sheer force of the wind of her flying past them.
Yeah, because as she like picked up speeds, she seems to be. Wait, has it ever shown how she flies? Does she have like rockets, or has she just kind of hovered?
She kind of just hovers.
Okay, so unlike Optimus, who has visible jets, she just flies somehow.
Presumably it's because her alt form is also a flyer, that she can kind of just float around, just like Pterosaur.
Yeah, I've noticed that with Pterosaur. And yeah, like you said, man, have you noticed that these autocannons on both sides suck? Sometimes
it's almost like they're cannon fodder.
See, we're going insane, people. We're giving in to the beast.
We've been in beast mode too long.
We've been in beast mode too long. And because the Predacons are geniuses, nobody's in their fucking base.
Yeah. Leaving her free to just zip right in.
I would have blown the fucking base up, but whatever. So we cut to a rat.
Yep.
And it seems like he's being chased and he's going to get eaten by Dinobot, but because they're being shot at, it appears that they're both kind of like just fleeing for their lives now.
And then Optimus, Gorilla Man, shows up. And then there's Tigatron. And Gorilla Man starts like roaring, and Tigatron growls at him, and then Gorilla Man pounds his chest.
I've been waiting all season for that, man. For him to pound his chest like a gorilla. I like how I don't know how to describe Tigatron's expression when Gorilla Man pounds his chest, except impressed. His pupils dilate. And his mouth hangs open, and he's kind of just like, ooh.
Impressed or aroused?
Why not both? And then even Optimus kind of like stops and kind of like cants his head, like, what, that wasn't impressive to you? And then Tigatron comes out. Witness me! And Tigatron's eyes undilate, and he kind of like just turns and walks away. He leads all of them like he did the others to get him to follow him to this safe cave where he's taking them all. And yeah, they now he's got 3 of them following him: Optimus, Rhinox, and Cheetor.
Rat Trap's watching in the bushes.
Rat Trap's like hiding, looking from the bushes. Yeah, and then a Velociraptor jumps out.
Like the clever girl that he is.
Thank you. He jumps out from the side, and he comes at them from the side, and he kind of snaps at the air and acts all Dinobot-ish. And I like this. Tigatron just kind of growls at him, kind of like a disappointed parent, like, stop it, dude.
Yeah.
And he jumps up onto a rocky like outcrop, and then he just talks to them in English.
He says like something like computer core consciousness, access core consciousness, password Tigatron.
Yeah, is that what he says?
Something like that, yeah. So he's able to basically access their subconscious
core
programming.
Consciousness, yeah.
Yeah.
And you hear a computer voice beep on all of the Maximals, and it's like, passcode accepted, passcode accepted.
Yeah.
So he just like verbally accessed their subconscious?
Yeah.
Huh.
When you're robots, I guess you can do that.
Yeah, he growls at them and tells them to shut up.
Yeah.
And listen up, kids.
And AirRaiser is at the Predacon base, and there's the rectifier coil.
Why did they leave someone behind? Jesus. This is so easy.
And why did they leave it out on its own on like a little podium?
Oh,
with like a spotlight shining down on it.
Because what does AirRaiser say here? You can't tell me old Megs would have forgotten a booby trap. And I'm like, Megs? Wow. I like it. I'm using it.
Yeah, so he goes to touch it.
Yeah.
And
sure enough,
this little mini autocannon comes down, and then she like wrist darts it and blows it up.
It's like the slowest like booby trap I've ever seen.
And she's all like, oh, I wasn't disappointed, or something like that.
She's like, gotta love him, because of how predictable that was.
Yeah.
And I was expecting her to grab it, and then like 5 more drop down. No, she just picks up the coil reticular
rectifier coil.
Rectifier. The rectifier coil, and walks away, and she's like, oh, I hope Stripes is doing okay. And I kept expecting like more turrets to pop up. No, she just fucking walks out of the base. like a boss. Probably like, uses their shitter while she's there.
Uh,
Who went through my personal collection of magazines? Scorponok? All of my bird porn is gone.
uh,
Oh wait, it would be tiger porn that she'd be interested in. I don't fucking know. I'm
presumably,
going
yes.
crazy. Okay.
Anyway, she's got the reciprocator coil, and she leaves. And we're back in the forest clearing. Is it a cave or is it a clearing?
It's like an alcove cave-ish kind of thing. There is moonlight coming from the top, so some sort of rocky area in the jungle. And Tigatron gives them a little story, and he's like, once we were merely robots in disguise.
Dun
But
dun.
dun dun. But on this planet, we Maximals have become something more. So that
Maximals in
seems like a
disguise.
corny Maximals in disguise. That seems like a corny line, but it is telling the viewer that, hey, we used to be like robots in disguise, and now we're robots that eat fries. I don't know. They have robot forms instead of vehicles. What do you want from me? And he says the maximal programming was designed to block their beast urges.
Still don't know why they get those, but
I don't know why either. But that seems, if we jump all the way back to when Tigatron was introduced, something was wrong with him. I think they had said logic circuits at the time.
I think he said his identity circuits were damaged in the crash.
That's it. Yeah, identity circuits, and presumably he got that back, or that's the same thing as amnesia, and he developed a new identity. That has never been. It's never been explained to us. But for whatever reason, he was more comfortable in his tiger form.
The only thing I can see is that because now they're using DNA of living creatures to create alt forms instead of just replicating the basic form of motor vehicles. So because of that, they end up
It's a little bit different.
Elements of the creature that they're taking on get introduced into their circuitry.
Yeah.
You can explain it away. I just think it's dumb.
Yeah, you can explain it away. I am taking a beautiful screenshot just to share with you. You know how I'm like, hey, this show has a lot of great Optimus faces. I think I found one of my more favorite ones here, good sir. Yes, I did. And I will title it Optimus. Anyways, what does he say? He say these these blockers we have on in our bodies or minds or whatever are a mistake.
Yeah, the programming block that they have in them to hinder their beast urges are basically making their beast forms and their robot core consciousness essentially be at odds with one another, and the programming block needs to be deleted so that both their robot consciousness and their beast urges can live and work together in harmony.
Yeah, and I guess before they kind of had some sort of program block on their beast urges.
Yes. That face that you just sent me kind of sums up how I feel about this episode, really.
I've never seen him make that face before. That was like the biggest fucking like scowl and eyebrow combo I've ever seen. Anyway,
So yeah, he's like, find the programming block and delete it. Bring your beast and robot forms together.
yeah, some
Let them
like
work in harmony.
some feng shui shit, right?
Yeah. And so they all like growl, and then their eyes go back to their normal color, and like their internal computer voice is like, programming block deleted. Wait a minute,
Yeah.
I just thought of something. So
Yes, I know what feng shui means. It's how a room goes together and energies are aligned.
oh, I thought it was like the thing you do after you have fun and Wang Chung tonight.
No, that's unagi,
Gotcha.
the ancient art of unagi.
The ancient
Senpai.
art of eating barbecued eel. I have to be quite fond of unagi.
Yeah, I love it.
No, I just thought of something. Megatron earlier was like, oh, based on my research on Maximal programming, their beast modes have taken over. Cheers. So why is this affecting Dinobot then?
Oh. Yeah, that's stupid.
He is aligned with the Maximals now, but he is not a Maximal. He was not born a
He's
Maximal.
not built one, no.
He's not. Yeah, he wasn't built or programmed as a Maximal. He is just choosing to be aligned with the Maximals right now. This is something that gets mentioned many times. So why is all of this affecting Dinobot then? Shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't. He shouldn't be acting like his animal at all. Or what it should have done is imply that happens to the Predacons as well.
Yeah. But it doesn't do that.
I guess it depends on the voice activation that you use to. It depends on what you scream. If you scream maximize or terrorize. Yeah, you're right. He shouldn't have that like programming in his head.
Yeah.
I like how they all like kind of scream and it goes programming block deleted, right? And so they kind of merge their animal sides and their robot signs, and Optimus is like, I understand. And Rat Trap comes out of nowhere, hiding in the bushes, and he's like, rat, robot. I'm a robot and a rat. And I'm
that was
like,
actually a pretty good impression there.
Really?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I like it. And I'm like, but you've liked being a rat before. I don't like this isn't new. Like they've experienced like being at one with their like Cheetor's whole fucking thing is running around. Whatever.
Saying some Cheetor bullshit and being all like, blah blah, I'm a cat.
Yeah, they're all like, I get it now. Giga Bummer. They're all like, I get it. And I'm like, what? What do you get? Tell me.
Well, Tigatron tells us though, because he's like, remember, let your beast and robot forms work together. Once again, he's
Do not
said
fight
that
your beast instincts.
Yeah, he said the same bullshit like 6 times over. This scene
like
now.
You felt like that was like going on and on and on. It's like, yes, we get it. And it's like, no, we must spend 10 minutes to explain it because children are dumb.
Yeah,
like, no, they're not.
Yeah, like it isn't anywhere near as deep as
they want it to be.
Yeah, as the writers think it is.
You must merge both your robot and your beast minds, both in battle and in peace. But for now, let us maximize. And they do.
Only thing I do like about this episode is I kind of like this fight because
it's short, but it's good.
I like this fight because like they're like transforming like mid-maneuver in battle.
This is
like,
cool.
Like Optimus transforming mid-air and like flying super kicking Megatron right off of his stupid chair.
Yeah, and they're hooting and hollering. This is just a fun battle. Like if Justin,
here comes Rat Trap. riding Rhinox again.
Just in this battle, in of itself, I like how when they all maximize, they're like, "All right, woo, yeehaw!" They're all like hooting and hollering, like all excited that they're back. But yeah, like you said, like there's a lot of shit that goes on here. Man, she's still playing that fucking drum. It's cool, but like weird on this show. Like I'm all about like tribe and hunts and like all of that stuff, but like would would Black Arachnia like stoop so low as to be like the drum person? Like what the fuck is that? I don't know. Maybe he's like, I'll give you an hour on the Xbox if you let me do this.
And like Tarantulas being one of the ones who like carries Megatron's throne, like that's not him.
No. Maybe after their bullshit stunt with Inferno, they were in like hot water, right?
Maybe.
And they were like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, he's gonna scrap us. And he was like, because remember, he was like, I want a word with those spiders at the end of the episode. And they both knew they were in trouble. Like they fucked off as soon as he like roared. They were like, oh shit. Don't wake daddy.
Wow.
Speaking of 1996, do you remember
Right?
that shit?
I remember the commercial, yeah.
Sometimes commercials from the same era of the TV shows that we're reviewing like pop up in my head. Holy shit. I think it was like well, it had the same mechanical sense of that crocodile like dentist game. You know how like one of the teeth will randomly like make the crocodile's mouth shut and you had to like take its teeth out?
I think the like I think it was basically a from like start to finish type game. So like you
but
started.
what I mean by the random factor is, like I think you had to push his clock the number of like spaces you move, or if you landed on a certain tile,
Yeah.
you had to press it the number, and it was random. It might be like 3, or it might be like 30, but like eventually, when you're pushing down on his like stupid like alarm clock, you have the like he's in it like has a little sleeping cap on his face. He like sits up, looking all like wide awake and scared. And what was it like? Whoever triggered it had to run back to bed or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Something like that, right?
Anyway,
But
speaking of
someone got Anyways, speaking of Don't Waking Daddy.
speaking about Waking Daddy, Rhinox and Rat Trap come in. Rat Trap's riding Rhinox in his robot form. Rhinox transforms and grabs Rat Trap and hurls him toward the Predacons. And Rat Trap transforms midair and like cannonballs and does like a roll underneath Terrorsaur, ends up behind him, and then like full auto unloads his handgun right into Terrorsaur. So this is what I mean, like how like I kind of like
cool.
this battle because
This
like
is one of the better battles of the entire show.
I like them I like them using both forms in battle and like transforming mid maneuver.
It being not just a gunfight, which we've seen 100 times.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if this episode was like a mandate from Hasbro, being like, "Hey guys, like you got to incorporate their beast forms into fights more."
Fair enough. Yeah, they're the bosses, right?
Yeah,
they're the ones writing the checks. Yes.
So
Dinobot like raptor pins like Black Arachnia down. And she's used to being like with his like raptor foot. And she's used to being the one who steps on people.
specifically on their faces and their balls.
Specifically on their faces and their balls. And they pay her to do it. And she doesn't look happy with Dinobot pinning her down. Sorry, I thought I'd just mention that one little thing there. Doesn't Rhinox like swing a tree at someone?
Yeah, he grabs a tree and like hits, I think it's Inferno, out of the air with it. Whoever
Man, that is
whoever
smooth.
that flying red guy is.
Whoever that guy is. He doesn't say a single word, and nobody says his name. We could have dreamed him. It's to go back to what you were saying. It's really smooth the way that Rhinox and Rat Trap transform, and he like seamlessly throws Rat Trap through the air.
Yeah.
And he rolls as a rat. Like it's really smooth animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it. Optimus and Megatron exchange like a very brief like bit of fisticuffs, and I think Optimus like body slams Megatron, and then Megatron starts shorting
Yeah,
out.
it's so weird. Rhinox like baseball swings and hits Waspinator out of the air with a tree, and then
Waspinator, okay.
yeah, and it doesn't matter. One of the flyers, they all start to lose basically. And yeah, Optimus just does like the least damaging like move in his arsenal. He just like picks him up and throws him.
Yeah.
Oh, Cheetor actually shoots Inferno out of the air. Huh. I think that's the first time he's ever shot anything in the air. I'm sure
Actually
there's
hit
been
it.
other times. And actually hit it with one shot. That might actually be the first time.
Too bad it wasn't the Cyber Bee.
Ooh, too bad. The full moon is in the background, and Optimus tosses Megatron out of the ring.
Yeah, and both feet touch the floor, so he's been eliminated from the Royal Rumble. And then Megatron starts shorting out to really hammer down the point.
The hunt has gone on for too long. Predacons, retreat!
And they all, one by one, fuck off into the night.
Yeah, it shows them all scattering and skittering and running. Doesn't show a few of them. It doesn't show all of them, just a few of them. So like that red guy in the air, you don't even know he changes into an ant.
Like, no, that's true.
Yeah.
So confused.
Yeah, and then Cheetor comes up and says some Cheetor bullshit and like does like a pound it like fist bump with Optimus, which I've never seen before.
And Air Razor is like flying through the air, and with the reciprocal coil, and I wish I'd started that joke earlier in the episode, honestly. Just calling it something different every time.
There was a joke we made in the preamble, and I was like, "Oh, I should have saved that for the recording." And you're like, "Hey, we can still make the joke." Can't even remember it now. Looks. This is weird. So it's like, the rice paddy coils back to come back at base.
Maybe I'll make it the cold open.
Yeah, maybe.
Just that, and like all of the joke and all of the stuff after, with us being like, yeah, we can make the joke again, because like that makes
totally
Joe funnier.
Remember. Oh, when I was like, explain it, yeah. Which is, Rhinox is like, it looks like things will be back to normal.
And Optimus is like, maybe even better, and then he yells and then pounds his chest, and then everyone laughs.
Have like a little like animal moment and like hoot and holler and cheer.
And mercifully, this is the end of the episode.
Mercifully. Okay, so
yeah, so that was the 21st episode in production order, Call of the Wild. We rate episodes on the Too Much Energon scale, which ranges from not enough Energon, which is anything from a really terrible episode to not that great, to Sufficient Energon, which is anything from was all right, I guess, to it was pretty good, to Too Much Energon, which is anything from holy shit, that was a great episode, to literally best episode ever. Cal, What do you rate this on the Too Much Energon scale?
So I actually do really like the whole like embrace your instincts theme, right?
Yep.
I think the where it's time to go on a hunt is fucking hilarious. But there's something about the episode which we've as anyone listening, we've discussed at length. Like we actually went through it quicker than we usually do. It's just
I've been timing it. Not really. No, we're
oh,
we're
okay, well.
we're about average.
So I there are lots of parts of it that I would think are funny or good, like the fight, one of the best fights on the show. Thought it was really cool. But I'm torn between because I
There.
normally really like the whole like, oh, let's embrace our animal side thing, but it's done so dryly and so
So you like some of the idea.
puzzlingly.
So you like some of the ideas, but in the episode, but not the overall
I
execution.
so exactly. So the episode is not like anything in life. It is not a sum of its parts. Its parts are really good on, are really good on paper. I really like embracing your instinct. I like the idea of them being like under sleep, like not having enough sleep, right? Like going a little bit like loopy. I like the idea of them being stuck in like beast form. But like not all together and man, I don't know if it gets not enough energon or if its good parts are enough to give it I give it a really low sufficient amount of energon. It's
It is getting a very middle of the road, not enough energon from me. There were a
yeah,
couple.
you do not like it.
No, not at all. There were a couple of decent ideas in the episode. I liked the fight at the end, brief as it was, and there were a couple of bits that made me laugh. But it
Air
was
Razor going on her mission is cool,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah. But it was the overall execution of the episode. Good ideas, not executed very well, and like the fuck is the hunt? Like, good god. Megatron
Uh,
going on safari.
that should have been cooler than it was, right?
That would have been like okay, that would have been better in another more lighthearted episode, but this episode was trying to be dark and profound at times. And like maybe they were trying to add some levity to everything with Megatron Safari, but it just came across as weird and out of place.
Yeah, you thought so too? Like all
Yeah.
of the parts of it are funny or good, but not all together.
I'm gonna say I think this is actually my least favorite episode of the series thus far. So at the end of the season, when we do a special best and worst list of season one,
That's
you
fair.
you can guess this is going to be in my worst list.
That's yeah. That's fair. That's fair. On
It,
paper it seems cool, but I so much of it is much of it we, anyone listening to this knows that this show will contradict itself from scene to scene, not even episode to episode, sometimes sentence to sentence.
much like another 90s mainframe show that we podcast about.
I wonder what does it worse, reboot or this?
I'd say reboot, but
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
all right. So that has been the 21st episode of Beast Wars in production order. Call of the Wild. Uh,
Roar!
Best way to support the show.
Munch you. Sorry, go ahead.
Best way to support the show. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, be sure to give us a 5-star rating. Check out our website, www.toomuchenergon.ca, where you can find embedded website embedded versions of every episode of this podcast, as well as social media links and contact info. Speaking of contact, if you want to get in touch with us, send us an email at toomuchenergon or toomuchenergon@outlook.com. Speaking of emails, we got an email during our recent holiday break. We got an email. This came in from Mason. He writes, just wanted to say that I started this podcast not expecting much. Totally fair. As the content discussed is incredibly niche, but man, have I had my expectations blown out of the roof. Well, thank you, Mason.
Yeah.
Having listened to about 8 episodes now and keen for more, I gotta say you guys are killing it and keep making me laugh throughout it all. Great to hear.
That's great to hear. It is niche. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it's. I'll save further comment until the end of the email. Glad to know other people's take on this children's show as seriously. Oh, glad to know other people take this children's show as seriously as I do without sounding too much like a loser. Lol. Well, I don't know about that, but
we try.
Been a shit week for me, having lost a 4-year relationship, but the Beast Wars discussions still managed to make me smile. Super lame message. Not at all, Mason. But wanted you all to know that you've got a fan for life here and most certainly deserve more. Keep killing it, fellas. Regards from Australia, Mason.
Wow. So we've had 2 emails.
Yep.
For Too Much Energon. And boy, are they night and day. Anyone listening, the first one we've had was basically somebody like, fuck off. Stop appearing on my Facebook.
Yeah, Bobo.
And this one is, wow, like, I don't know what to say, but like, thanks for listening, man. And like, we didn't come out to be like, we didn't say, hey, we're funny. Let's make a podcast and like gain followers. We kind of were like,
oh no, not at all. Yeah.
Like we chose Beast Wars. Like, right? Like, there's literally dozens of us. that watched it.
Yeah, so listeners, the story of how this podcast got started was for about 7 years, me and Cal kept saying like, hey, we should totally do a podcast sometime. And we're like, yeah, let's do that. Cool, let's do that. But we had no idea of what to do. I, one night, was admittedly a few drinks in and watching Beast Wars for some nostalgia. And I listened to another podcast where they do a show like this for Star Trek. And I'm like, and I messaged Cal, I'm like, hey, let's do this podcast about Beast Wars where we review every episode one by one. And he's like, sure, why? And I'm just like, because no one else is doing it.
I think I was like, fuck yes. I don't even know if I said why.
And I'm like, because no one else is doing it. And this can be
grew
like,
up with it and
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, we started doing this like because we wanted to do something like this, and it was a niche thing. We didn't want to just be like another true crime podcast or something like that amongst like 500,000 others.
And here's an interesting thing. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but if someone stumbles upon this and they were like, Beast Wars, what's that? And we even get like one person that's never watched it to go, yeah, I'll go back and check this out. It's on Tubi. It's free. Yeah, I'll check it out. And they go, holy shit, this is kind of rad.
Yeah.
I was going to say like, oh, mission accomplished. But honestly, if we never ever get like another email again, if Like nobody follows our Facebook page or like any of that stuff. Just that one email from our Australian listener that Christopher just read out. That's like more than I would have asked for from doing this. Like he was going through kind of like a dark time, listening to it at the end of 2020, right? And he says that he thinks we're like funny and it actually helped him get through that breakup. Like what more, why else would we, what more could we ask doing this?
Exactly. I said a long time ago, it was in response to something you told me in private. I mentioned to someone else that, like, you know what, like, if doing this, like, even, like, if doing this show and our other podcasts we do, Alphanumeric, like, if doing this week in and week out even, like, affects one person positively, then mission accomplished.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mason, thanks for writing in. Sorry about your relationship, like, truly. Without getting too personal, I'm divorced myself, so I can definitely empathize. So I'm glad we're helping you get through that. And thanks for listening. And hang in there, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Mason, I was in a relationship for 12 and a half years. So yeah, it's scary and it sucks and you think you have life figured out and then you start to figure it out differently after you break up and figure your life out again. So hopefully things are turning up and 2021 the year of our Lord and Savior 2021 Optimus that is it's gonna be a weird year, but stick with us and we'll make fun of some animal transformers with you.
We still got more Beast Wars episodes to come than we've recorded thus far, so we're still going to be at this for a bit yet.
And some of them are going to be bad, and that's okay. But
unlike this episode,
I don't know what's going to happen because Christopher has watched it all. I'm going into it with mixed memories, but I don't really remember much past this. So it's kind of like exciting for me because I get to see what happens, and it seems like some pretty fucking like hype shit is going to happen. So
some hype shit is going to happen. I do remember most of the main story beats of what happens in the rest of the show, but I haven't really revisited seasons 2 or 3 much. So, like, yeah. So I'm not necessarily going into them fresh, but I'm going into them with remembering a lot less than I did with this season.
Revisiting them as an adult is different.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Child Me loved The Call of the Wild.
Child Me did not. No, I never liked this episode, honestly.
Yeah, Child Me thought it was like super fucking hype, man. Gorilla kicks and like spiders playing drums and the hunt. Fuck yeah, sign me up. But
speaking of super hype, if you're listening to this on YouTube, go and check out the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any of those main outlets, because we have some bonus material that I don't put on the YouTube channel. We usually have an outtake every week where we kind of shoot the shit about random things. So if you want to hear us talk about things other than Beast Wars, that's the way to do it. But we also, and I saved this as a podcast feed exclusive, so it's not on YouTube. For Christmas, this past Christmas, on Christmas Eve, we released a special commentary track for the 1986 film Transformers the Movie.
Dun dun dun.
It's not a typical review in the way that we do these shows. It's a full-on commentary track. You can watch the movie along with us if you like, or you can just listen to it as a regular podcast. But had a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, we did a countdown, so you can count down with us like at the exact point, and we don't pause it. We just bullshit, and there's a lot of like silence as we watch the movie. It's fucking good. Like, if listening to commentary is your thing, go watch two 90s nerds give their completely uninformed opinion on what's happening during that.
Yeah.
It's mostly us talking about how cool everything is.
Oh, yeah. It was great. We might do more of those in the future, so stay tuned. Yeah, I think that's going to about do it. We will be back next week with the 22nd episode in production order, The Low Road. Here it is, Cal.
Christopher's favorite. He's been counting down the days.
This is the Energon fart episode.
Possibly your favorite episode is coming up.
Yep. So stay tuned for that.
Can't be worse than the Call of the Wild, right? And on that note,
I can't say.
We'll see everyone next time.
Yes. Until then,
I've been NeoCal.
I have been Christopher Siege, and hopefully I still will be after watching next week's episode.
I don't even know who I'll be next week.
What year is it?
Leo Hal?
Leopold.
Ugh.
Anyway, until next week, beast mode.
Beast mode.
Beast mode!